So let's talk a little bit about the basic shaping of the shawl. This is an asymmetrical triangular shawl, which means that one edge is a little bit longer than the other two. All three sides are a little bit different lengths. I love this type of shawl. It's a very simple shaping. Once you get going on it, you get into the rhythm and you almost don't even have to think about the shaping anymore. To create this shaping, we'll do one yarn over on every right side row. So you'll see these yarn overs all run up one side of the shawl. So let me demonstrate. I'm using circular needles with this shawl. If you're more comfortable, you could certainly use straight needles. I like to use circular needles because when you end up toward the end of the shawl with a lot of stitches on your needles, it's really nice to have that cable to hold the extra stitches. It takes a little bit of weight off your hands, you can rest it in your lap more easily, and it can accommodate a lot of stitches. So our pattern starts with just 3 stitches. So I'll cast on my 3 stitches. I'm just using a long tail cast on here. You can use the cast on you're most comfortable with. In the pattern, our first row is a wrong side row. It's just a little setup row. All we're going to do is knit 1 row. So I'll knit those 3 stitches, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now we get to begin the shaping. So row 1 of the pattern, that was a setup row, so I'm calling this row the actual row 1. This is now a right side row, so we're going to do our yarn over. We're going to knit 2. We're going to yarn over, and then we're just going to knit that last stitch, knit 1. Now we've got 4 stitches on the needle. We've got that yarn over, 2 stitches in from the edge on the right side row. Turn the work. The wrong side rows in the beginning of the shawl were pretty much all garter stitch, so those wrong side rows are just going to be plain knit stitches. So let's just knit straight across those 4 stitches. Okay, I'm back to a right side row, so we will knit 2, yarn over, then knit the last 2. And we just keep going like that, knitting back. The pattern will tell you the exact number of stitches you want to get to. I think I say in the pattern, you know, how many rows to knit, but you don't need to worry about that. Just count your stitches every once in a while and keep track that way instead of having to keep a row counter next to you for this. You know, I find it quite easy to just count the stitches on the needles, and that may very well work for you too. One question you might have is that when you're beginning this shawl and everything's garter stitch, you can see that the right side and the wrong side look very much the same, and it's a little difficult to tell the difference. One way you can tell the difference is that you can have the shawl facing you, getting ready to knit your next row. Here is a little sample shawl that I'm going to use later when I'm talking about stripes. But for this, we can see this shawl actually on the needles. We can see that we have our yarn overs over here on the right. The right side rows, the yarn overs, the shaping, are always on the right. If you're on a wrong side row, those yarn overs will be on the left-hand side. And we can see that again in this larger piece. The right side, these are over on the right. The wrong side, they're on the left. But another really simple way, if you're watching TV or something and you don't really want to think at all, take one of these little locking stitch markers and just clip it to the right side of your work. And then you can just tell at a glance, that's my right side row.